Richard Strauss's tone poem, Don Juan, is one of the very greatest works of musical romanticism. Brilliant, impetuous, full of imagination, the piece immediately established Strauss as a master of orchestration and of musical design. He was a young man, still in his early 20s, and it's interesting to see how he came to compose Don Juan and why he did it so well. In a way, it was a curious situation, one of those fortunate accidents of music, when several powerful influences have converged on a mind that was trained and technically equipped to be influenced. Strauss's father, a skilled musician, though very conservative in taste, had encouraged his son's musical education. The young Strauss, from early childhood, had composed reams of music, traditional in style, but very competent nonetheless. Shortly before he wrote Don Juan, he met Alexander von Ritter, a composer, orchestral musician, and a relative of Wagner. Strauss declared that Ritter's influence was like a whirlwind. He introduced Strauss to everything new in art, music, and literature, and in particular to the orchestral virtuosity of Berlioz, Liszt, and Wagner, and also an unfinished version of the Don Juan legend by Lenau, a strange, remote poet who had died insane after a troubled, pathetic life that in itself was almost a parody of romantic agony. But most important of all, Strauss had met the girl he was to marry, and there's no doubt that the strongest influence on Don Juan was that good old favorite, Young Love. The orchestra of the Royal Opera House, Covent Garden, and their musical director, Georg Solti, came to the television centre to make this programme. We see them rehearsing Don Juan, and at the end of the programme, playing it right through. After recording the music, Georg Solti talked to John Culshaw.
How do you find this piece from the conductor's point of view? Very difficult? The opening is notorious, of course.
It is difficult. It is still very difficult because, A, it is technically difficult for the orchestra. It's an enormous amount of black note, as I call it, huge sequence of semiquavers and double semiquavers. Rhythmically, it's not easy. He asked for intonation, high register, low, very difficult orchestration.
Horrifying to think what that first performance must have been like.
I wouldn't like to hear that. I wouldn't like to hear that. It must be terrible. I mean,